In some states, a plaintiff alleging fraudulent misrepresentation must prove 5 things. 1. The defendant made a misrepresentation of a material fact. 2. With knowledge of its falsity. 3. With the intent to induce reliance, where 4. The plaintiff justifiably relied on the statement, and 5. The plaintiff suffered a pecuniary loss. But what happens when a lawyer makes some mixed statement of law and fact during settlement negotiations that's false? The Minnesota Supreme Court considered this question in Hoyt Properties versus Production Resource Group. Steve Hoyt was an attorney who owned and operated Hoyt Properties and Hoyt Winnetka, 2 Minnesota companies engaged in the real estate business. In 2001, Hoyt Properties and Haas Multiples Environmental Marketing and Design entered into a lease under which Hoyt leased office space to Haas. But before taking possession, Haas assigned the lease to Entolo, whose parent company was Production Resource Group, which we'll call PRG. Eventually, Entolo defaulted on the lease, and Hoyt filed an unlawful detainer action. But on the date of the eviction hearing, Hoyt and Entolo reached a settlement agreement. Under the agreement, Hoyt retained the right to sue Entolo for the remaining unpaid balance of the lease minus a few exceptions. Further, Hoyt agreed to release PRG from liability. This agreement was based on the representations made to Hoyt by PRG's attorneys at the hearing. Specifically, regarding piercing the corporate veil, PRG's attorneys stated, quote, "There isn't anything. PRG and Entolo are totally separate," unquote. Nevertheless, after signing the agreement, Hoyt learned that a third party sued Entolo for breach of contract and sought to hold PRG liable by piercing the corporate veil. Subsequently, Hoyt sued PRG in state district court to rescind the agreement and to pierce the corporate veil to hold PRG liable for Entolo's breach of the lease. In the complaint, Hoyt alleged that PRG's attorney knew, or should have known, his statements were false. In response, PRG moved for summary judgment, which the court granted, concluding that the representations constituted a non-actionable legal opinion, that they weren't false, and that Hoyt failed to demonstrate reasonable reliance on them. Hoyt appealed to the Court of Appeals, which reversed. PRG then filed a petition for review, which the Minnesota Supreme Court granted.